and welcome back to the second part of this tutorial. So let's take care of the insert, update, reset, and so on. And I will also take care of this search components in here. So let's exit out. I'm going to go straight to the insert right here. Where is it? There we go. Double click on the button insert. And right there, the first thing you guys, I will advise you guys to do is we need to call our connector here, which I refer to as SQL Connect. So the SQL Connect, we have to then invoke the method called connection string. This connections, with the connection string, we now want to use our SQL server and so on. So maybe I should just copy that. Let's go straight up here, have it right here. So might as well just copy everything instead of reinventing the wheel. So let's come right down, just paste that in there, and that will even speed up things a little bit. So I've just called my SQL server, okay, my user ID, password, and the database that I'm using. Okay, so I will now use my error handler called try catch. Within the try catch, I will ask my connector to open up. So in there, just say SQL dot open. So that should open up my database. And I also declare a variable right up there. And if you guys can still recall, the variable is actually called SQL query. You can see it's kind of like grayed out because I've not used those variables, and if you look at this as well, the adapter is not used yet. That's why it's grayed out. So I'm going to copy that, come right down here, and let's paste it in here. There we go. And that is where I will now enter my, right in front of it, I'm going to enter my SQL. So that will be, let's enter it in the quote, insert into, my database name is called employee, and the table is also called employee. So it's going to be employee.employee. You don't have to put a dot, but I just prefer to do it that way. Okay, in there, my very first column is the ID, so I'm going to enter my ID there, comma, then followed by the first name, comma, surname, comma, address. I have postcode. You have to actually make sure what you're entering is exactly the same format of your database. Then I have gender here. No, that is incorrect. It has to be this format: gender, date of birth, email, and I have my mobile. So let's move all of this so that we have enough room to, so that you guys can see what I'm up to. Okay, comma, and I'll just enter a mobile here. There we go. So that is everything taken care of for the columns. Now underneath here, I'm just going to press enter here, and I will now say values, and within the value itself, I'm going to enter the following. The very first one is going to be, let's enter an apostrophe speech mark. The very first one would be an apostrophe speech mark and txt id dot text. That's my first text box. And speech mark, apostrophe, comma, apostrophe, and speech mark. We then enter and again. The next one, if you guys can figure that out, is going to be first name. So that's going to be txt first name. To make life a little bit easy for me, so I'm going to copy this, come right down here, paste that there, and the next one is going to be txt surname dot text, paste, followed by txt address dot text, paste, and after address I have the postcode. So I'm going to come right down here. Let's just go right down. That'll make life a bit easier. Maybe do it this way. Yeah. So the next one is going to be postcode. txt postcode dot text. There, paste that again. And after the txt postcode, I have cbo gender dot text. So what I'm actually doing here is highlighting all of the components that the database that will store all the data straight into the database itself. That is for my date of birth. Now I have email, so txt email dot text, and paste that in there. So I'm going to press enter here. Finally, I'm going to enter txt mobile. That's supposed to be for mobile phone, and that is all there is to it. So let's paste that in there, just delete what I don't need. So I'm going to delete this, delete that, and yeah, that is it. So let's sort out all of these errors. Okay, I think right here I'm missing out dot text. Alright, that's the error, taking care of them. Okay, so I have all my data in place. Now the next thing is to let's invoke the command SQL command equals new MySql command, and this MySql command I will now enter into the parentheses the following argument. That will be for the query and the connector. Copy that and paste that in here. There. So that takes care of that. Then the next thing is we need to get it read. So let's enter the reader in there. So I call that SQL read equals my command. That will be SQL command dot execute the reader. There we go. And the next thing is I'm going to have to close it. So let's grab the connector here and come right down here. Dot close. Yeah. Okay, what about if we have an error? If we have an error, so let's come right in here and just say if there's any error, I want the following to happen. So I'm just going to say message box dot show, and what I want you to show will just be the system message sender, which is system.send the following default message. And right there, let me just finalize it. Let's come in here, or we can even let's add some more thing here. I'm going to say comma the name of my system, that is employee system. Okay, comma, entered another argument. I'm going to call that message box buttons dot OK, comma, the next one is going to be message box icon. I'm going to make that information, message box icon dot information. There we go. Those are my argument that will come out. So when a message box pops up, this will be the title, this will be this is the message, this is the title, the button OK that you will click, and this is just an icon. This icon will be an eye on the message box. Okay, finally, so what I'm going to do is let's come right down here and just say finally. I want you to dispose of the connector. Put that in there and just say dispose. There we go. Enter parentheses there. And that is it. So one other thing that I will do is, if I do this now, the system will run, but the problem is it will not update. So for us to update, I'm going to copy this so that it can update the whole process. Okay, we'll come right down here, paste that there. There we go. So we can now try it out. Okay, let's try it out. So I'm going to click on open. Let's open up my database first. And let's enter some data in here. So I'm just going to make that, let's say 21. That's the ID number for this candidate, and the name is going to be Paul Parker. An address of Parker, let's say 17 Little Venice, Warwick Avenue, Little Venice, London, and postcode. Male, date of birth 19, let's go for 0395. Email address .com, and right here telephone number. There we go. Right, that is Paul Parker's details. So decision time, let's click on this insert and see what's going to happen. There we go. That is my insert working. Supposing I give it a try again, it's telling me this very ID number already exists, so we cannot duplicate that. That record cannot be duplicated. That's fine. Good. So let's take care of update, delete, and the rest are a bit easy anyway. So let's come in here. Now the next thing is the update. Okay, let's double click on the update button here, and instead of me just repeating everything, I'm going to copy. Let's copy the content we have inside the insert. I'm just going to copy everything in here up to here, right there. Let's copy and come right inside update, paste that in there. Now what I want to do is I'm going to get rid of this. First of all, let's move this up there. Let's move it here, and here we have try. And what I'm going to do is I will change this. Okay, let's start by saying with instead of typing everything, so this one will make life easy for me. With SQL command right there. So I'm going to have to end with as well. Let's come right down here, get end that. Let's say end with. Okay, let's go back in there. Now to take care of that error, the first thing I'm going to do is let's say dim SQL command as new MySql command there. Okay, so the next thing underneath is going to be SQL command and we want that to connect. Dot connection equals SQL connect. Right. Okay. Maybe we should get rid of this try. Let's get rid of this try. There, that's gone. And I'm going to get rid of this as well. All of these messages here for the try. Let's get rid of, in fact, get rid of everything here. No, leave that. I can always change that form. Just get rid of all of this for now. If I need them, I'll add it. Okay. Now, this is how it looks for now. Okay. But here, I'm going to change this to dot command. So let's say dot command text, and the command text equals command dots. I said command text equal. Let me say command text equals command type equals command type, and this command type is going to be dot text. There we go. Right. What we want to do now is, since we have this, first and first, this should be, let's grab it here. And let's say my command test, I want to use my SQL command in here, and that is going to be update. We want it to update. Okay, let's move this up. I'll just put this down here. Cut, paste this here, and change this to update. Update my employee data. Okay, employee data, and in here, instead of how it is now, I'm going to change this to ID equals ID. Okay, and let me just say ID equals @ID. Then first name equals @first name. So we're going to need some more rooms to get this thing done. So let's just press enter right here. And I can delete all of this. I don't want this for now. Get rid of those. Okay. Let's say first name equals first name. Okay, let's just come in here. Get rid of that error. Error should go now. Okay. ID equals ID. First name equals first name. So I'm going to copy that. Equals @first name. Surname equals @surname. Yeah, it's there already. Okay, and address equals @address. There. I have the address there. The system is slow. I don't know what's going on. Alright. Okay, so we need to repeat exactly the same thing for postcode. Equals @postcode, and gender equals @gender. So what we're actually doing is addressing each of the column on the database itself. Come right here, equals @date of birth, email, and mobile phone equals @mobile phone. So what we are saying in there is whatever data you enter inside, let's assume inside ID, their data should be fed straight into the ID column, first name column, surname column, and so on. Now, right underneath here, so I now specify that command dot text equals command type dot text. If you guys notice these dots that I'm just using, is just the same thing like saying, okay, SQL command dot, you know, this is just an abbreviation. Instead of me writing all of that, I've already specified it in there that the call is going to be from the following. All right. Okay, so the next thing we want to do now is I'm going to use parameter. Okay, let's say parameter dot add with the value, all of these values that I have in here. So the first thing I'm going to say is dot parameter dot add with value. And what value is that? That will have to be inside parentheses. Okay, the first one is going to be @id. Okay, and the second argument is a comma. You fetch that right inside txt id.text. There, that is the first input taken care of for the update. Scroll right down. Or let me just move this up so that you guys can see what I'm up to. I guess you can see it properly. Alright, so let's move this up as well. And yeah, just copy it now. Now I'm going to copy it. The next one is going to be first name. First name, surname, address, postcode, gender, date of birth, email, and I think I have about 9 or more. I don't know. I will delete whatever is excess. Okay, in here that's going to be first name, and the text is going to be first name, txt first name. There we go. And this is surname. We just copy that and paste it there. That is surname there. And this is surname as well. Then I have my address. Have postcode. Yeah. Gender. Change this to gender, and here to gender as well. Then we have date of birth. No, the gender is CBO. Right, that's correct. Date of birth. Date of birth here. Then we have email. Copy. Email right here. Email here. And finally we have mobile. The mobile here. There. Okay, so those are my parameters all taken care of. Delete this excess one. There we go, guys. Now, okay, to run things up, we now need to execute the command. So right underneath here, I'm going to have to execute this. Copy and come right down here, just paste. Dot execute. Execute the query. There we go. And the next thing is I'm going to close my connector. This dot close. There. And I'll call my database. That's it. All taken care of. So have a good look at the update lines of codes. Okay. Maybe I should zoom in a little bit. Yeah, so that you guys can see it all. There we go. That is it. That's everything that you need for the update. Alright. So we're going to have to try this out now. Okay, we have to try this out. Let's just see how it looks like. Okay, let's run the program now. Click on start. I will click on open to open up the database. Now, let's assume we want to update something here. Okay, if I click on this, okay, before I can update, I want to be able to update it from here. So let's do one thing first. You see this data grid view. When I click on data grid view, I want it to display everything that we have in here. So let's take care of that. That's just going to take a couple of maybe 2-3 minutes to take care of that. So let's come in here before I can get my update working the way I want. So select the data grid view. Let's go straight to the properties here. Inside the properties, select event. So with the event selector, you see where we have cell click. I'm going to double click on the cell click there. There we go. So with that, I'm just going to enter try there, and what message I want for my cache. I'm just going to copy all of this, paste that in there, come right down here, paste that in there. That takes care of the message there. And in here, the first thing is going to be my ID. So copy my ID, paste the ID here, and that is going to be equals data grid view. Data grid view 1, this very one here, dot selected row. The selected row, that's 0 dot cells, and that cell is cell 0 because it's taking the form of an array. Dot value, and the value that I want in there, let me make that dot to string value. There we go, string value. Right, that is done. So I'm going to copy this now. In total it's 9 records. Let's paste. It's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I have all my data in place. All I just need to do is change their names around. That's 2, 3, 7, and 8. So that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that makes 9. Now let's change the names. The next name here is first name. I have surname here. And underneath the postcode, I have gender. So that's CBO gender. Right underneath gender, that will be date of birth. Email. There we go. That is it. So which means when I click on that very data grid view, I'll be able to select any of this. I should be able to populate whatever I have on the table straight inside each of the text box and the grid and the combo box. So let's run it. There. Okay, let's try out the update. So I'm going to select any of these. Let's assume we want to change the address to the Montana. Let's come in here. Instead of 17, I'm going to change that to 190. Little Venice, and let's just say London right there. Okay, what else do we want to change up to the Montana? Okay, let's assume we got the phone number wrong. So, and date of birth is wrong as well. Postcode. Alright, that's it. So decision time, click on update. There we go, guys. Look at that. Streets change, and that is changed as well. The postcode, phone number has been changed, and a lot of changes taking place. So my update is working. Okay guys, with that I'm going to call it the end of the second part of this tutorial, and I'll see you guys shortly.